Welcome to the Deep Dive, where today our mission is exploring the anatomy of a late bloomer. Like, how does a competitor go from constantly playing second fiddle to achieving something genuinely historic?
It's a fascinating journey.
It really is. Today, we're focusing on a Japanese racehorse named Chrono Genesis. And just to set the stakes for you, winning a single Grand Prix race in Japan is a lifetime achievement.
Oh, absolutely.
Winning 2 in a single year is reserved for absolute legends. But winning 3 in a row, only 2 horses had ever done it in the entire history of the sport.
And neither of them was female.
Right. So Chrono Genesis became the first mare in Japanese racing history to conquer that specific mountain. So to understand how she conquered the racing world, we first have to look at why she wasn't supposed to.
Right, her origins.
Yeah, looking at her origins, she was born in March 2016 at Northern Farm.
Her sire was Bago, a French champion who actually won Europe's Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe.
Wow, okay.
And her dam was Chronologist, who was sired by the brilliant gray champion Kurofune.
So she inherits Kurofune's gray coat, but she's getting Bago's European genetics.
Which means she inherited slow twitch muscles, heavier bone density, and this immense lung capacity built for grueling European stamina. They take a long time to build momentum. And physically, those heavier European frames take much longer to ossify and develop the muscle required to actually carry that stamina.
Which honestly perfectly explains that frustrating pattern of her early career, what the sources call her always a bridesmaid era.
Yeah, it was tough to watch.
She enters training at the Rito stable with trainer Takashi Saito, and she gets paired with a jockey Yuichi Kitamura. And she actually starts strong. She wins her first 2 starts, including the Ivy Stakes, producing the fastest closing speeds.
She did.
But then she hits the Grade 1 level. In the Hanshin Juvenile Fillies, she has a terrible start, drops to dead last, and despite passing almost the entire field, she finishes second.
She was showing flashes of that massive internal engine, but she didn't have the physical foundation to deploy it consistently yet.
Right. So at 3 years old, she wins the Queen Cup, confirming she's a classic contender. But then the Spring Classics arrive, and she just hits a wall.
The Triple Tiara races.
Exactly. She takes 3rd in the Oka Show, finishing behind Granolegria, who wins in record time. Then she takes 3rd in the Japanese Oaks, behind Love's Only You and Curran Bucador.
Yeah. Always right there, but not quite winning. She was unquestionably a top-tier athlete, consistently placing in the top 3 against literal all-time greats.
Right. I mean, Granolegria is no joke.
Exactly. Yeah. But she lacked that defining Grade 1 finishing blow because the muscle mass required to power, that massive stride just wasn't there yet.
So if she has this massive internal engine, but the chassis isn't built yet, how do you fix that without breaking the horse in the meantime?
You have to do the hardest thing in professional sports.
Yeah.
You have to stop competing and just wait.
Wow.
After the spring season ended without a Grade 1 victory, her team made a highly scrutinized decision about her autumn preparation.
Right. The sources note they decided to skip the traditional autumn prep races entirely. They sent her straight into the Shuka Show, which is the final jewel of the Triple Tiara.
A huge risk.
And here's the crazy part. She arrived at this race weighing exactly 20 kilograms heavier than her previous start. That's about 44 pounds.
Which is massive for a racehorse.
In a sport obsessed with aerodynamics and weight-to-power ratios, bettors assumed she was completely out of shape from the long layoff. They made her the 4th favorite. How did her team know this weight gain was actually a good thing?
Well, it looks alarming on paper, sure, but this is the breakthrough moment of her career. That 20 kilograms wasn't fat. It was pure, unadulterated muscle development.
Ah, so the frame finally filled out.
Exactly. Her team understood that her European frame had finally started to widen. By keeping her out of those prep races, they didn't wear down her joints.
Right, they let her grow.
They allowed her skeletal structure to finally support her genetics. The extra muscle mass directly translates to a wider, more powerful stride length and much better oxygen efficiency. She hadn't been resting at all. She had been transforming into a powerhouse.
And the proof was immediate. In the Shuka Show, instead of that desperate sweeping charge from the back of the pack we saw when she was younger, she had the physical strength to race right up close to the leaders.
She was right in the mix.
Yeah. When they hit the home stretch, she just pulled away. She defeated Curran Bucador, the exact horse that beat her in the Oaks, by 2 full lengths to win her first G1.
The patient development completely validated itself. She finally had the physical tools to dictate the terms of a race, rather than just reacting to it.
Right.
She ended her 3-year-old season with the disappointing 5th-place finish in the Queen Elizabeth II Cup, against older horses, but honestly, the Shuka show had already proved the point. Her physical arrival was complete.
Okay, so she proves she has the physical muscle to dominate the fillies. But to be a true legend, you can't just stay in your weight class, right? Did they ever test this new physical power against the boys?
They absolutely didn't. It marked a massive jump in ambition. For her 4-year-old season, instead of entering the female-restricted Victoria Mile like most would, her team aimed her at middle-distance races against elite male horses.
She totally dominates the Kyoto Kinen by 2.5 lengths, then loses a really brutal neck-and-neck battle to Lucky Lilac in the Osaka High.
A tough loss, but she proved she belonged.
But then comes her absolute masterpiece, the Takarazuka Kinen. This is a Grand Prix race. The field had 8 Grade 1 winners, including leading male horses, and heavy rain had turned the track into a muddy, exhausting mess.
Heavy ground like that physically alters the entire biomechanics of a race.
And she just sweeps around the outside, catches Lucky Lilac, and then obliterates the field. She won by 6 incredible lengths.
It was a demolition.
But here's where it gets really interesting, and I need you to explain this. Later that year, in the tennis show autumn, the ground was firm and dry, and she finished 3rd behind Almondai, who is obviously a legendary horse.
Of course.
She enters the Arima Kinen, which is the other Japanese Grand Prix race. The ground isn't muddy, but it's a grueling, stamina-draining distance.
Really testing.
And she wins it, becoming only the 2nd mare ever after Lise Gracieux to complete the Takarazuka and Arima Spring and Autumn Grand Prix double.
It signaled a massive shift in the sport. Historically, those Grand Prix races were viewed as the exclusive domain of powerful male horses. She ended her 4-year-old season as arguably the strongest horse in Japan.
So she proves her stamina can neutralize pure speed, and she proves she can beat the boys. But, horse racing isn't a solo sport. It is this symbiotic relationship between a 1,000-pound animal and a human.
It's a true partnership.
Right. What happens when that connection is abruptly severed? Riding the high of her Grand Prix double, the stage was set for a historic 5-year-old season. But a sudden tragedy nearly derailed the entire campaign.
Yeah, it started well enough with an international trip to the Dubai Shima Classic where she narrowly lost by a neck, finishing 2nd.
So close.
And the sources highlight a really touching detail from that trip. Her longtime jockey, Yuichi Kitamura, spent almost all of his free time just hanging out and playing with her in her stall.
He had ridden her from the very beginning. Like, he was there for the frustrating early defeats, the 20-kilogram breakthrough, and that 6-length mud victory.
They possessed a deeply ingrained physical rhythm. And when they returned to Japan, the fans overwhelmingly voted for her to defend her title in the Takarazuka Kinen.
Right.
But exactly 1 month before the race, disaster struck. Kitamura suffered a horrific fall during a different competition.
He fractured 8 vertebrae in his spine.
Just awful.
The injuries were so severe he needed over a year to recover. And because Chrono Genesis was owned by a racing club, there were strict rules requiring her to retire by the spring of her 6-year-old season, meaning Kitamura would literally never be able to ride her again before her career ended.
Heartbreaking.
So Christophe Lemaire steps in as her new jockey for the Takarazuka Kinen. The stakes are insane. If she wins, she becomes the 3rd horse in history and the 1st mare to win 3 consecutive Grand Prix races.
The pressure was on.
A jockey isn't just a steering wheel, right? It's like a race car driver and their mechanic working together for years to build the perfect car. And right before the championship, the driver is hospitalized and a stranger has to take the wheel. How much of this win belongs to the horse versus the new jockey?
It is a massive biomechanical disruption. A jockey influences a horse's weight distribution, they read their breathing, they pace their stride.
Right, it's so subtle.
Every jockey applies rein pressure differently. To swap that variable out 1 month before a historic race is incredibly risky because the horse might simply reject the new physical cues.
Yet, racing on different, firmer ground than the previous year and using completely different tactics, she raced from a forward position instead of sweeping from the back. She goes out and wins decisively by 2.5 lengths with Lemaire.
It's unbelievable.
So she actually did it. But does a win like this, under totally different tactical circumstances, change how we evaluate her talent?
It elevates it entirely. This victory actually cemented the horse's absolute greatness. By winning with a new jockey on different ground, utilizing totally different tactical positioning, she proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that her success wasn't just some fragile formula.
Wow.
She wasn't just a product of Kitamura's perfect rides or a muddy track. She possessed an internal intelligence and a physical adaptability that made her fundamentally superior to the competition, regardless of the variables.
If you've proven you can win with different jockeys on different surfaces against the absolute best in Japan, where do you even go from there?
You go for the ultimate prize.
Right. With absolutely nothing left to prove at home, her connections aimed for the ultimate, almost impossible challenge for her final months on the track. They targeted Europe's greatest prize, the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe.
It was the race her sire, Balgo, had won. On paper, it was the ultimate test of her European stamina genetics.
But the reality of the 2021 arc was brutal. The ground at Longchamp was incredibly deep in testing. It just drained her strength, and she finished 7th.
Very tough conditions.
She returned to Japan for one final race before retirement, attempting an unprecedented four-peat at the Arima Kinen. Exhausted from the European campaign and trapped among other horses with no room to run, she still fought tooth and nail to finish 3rd, just behind the younger star Euphoria.
Even battered, exhausted, and blocked, she refused to fade away.
Yeah.
She finished her career with statistics that are frankly hard to comprehend. 17 starts, 8 wins, 3 seconds, 4 thirds. She only finished outside the top 3 twice in her entire life.
That's absurd.
She amassed 1.2 billion yen in earnings, which was a club record at the time.
She retired to Northern Farm, and the sources note her first foal, Bereshit, who was sired by the Japan Cup winner, Epiphanier, made his racing debut in 2025.
A new generation.
Looking back, she was part of an era defined by 3 incredible mares who carved the racing world into their own kingdoms. Gran Alegria ruled the mile, Loves Only. You conquered the international stage, and Chrono Genesis became the queen of the Grand Prix.
It really was a golden age for mares.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more.